Okay, let me jump on preaching for a second. I can't tell you how many preachers I know whose gospel doesn't travel.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah. Yeah.
Like their gospel doesn't get past their 4 city blocks.
Wow.
Let alone outside of their denomination. Let alone sometimes outside of the state.
Yeah.
Sometimes outside of their country.
Dang.
There are sermons that are preached in America. You could not preach it in Brazil.
That's so real.
You couldn't preach it in Africa.
Yeah.
You couldn't preach it in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even work.
No.
So when you don't even have like the origin story, the epicenter of the power of the gospel message, you literally limit where you can preach it.
That's so good. And I think that's been something that's even come into how we're raising our kids of wanting. I remember like growing up, if you're not exposed, exposure is everything. Like being able to know that like there's more than just what I know and what like, and right now, like me and Abby were talking here, we are the kids, we're trying to teach, we're all trying to learn. I say the kids, we all working on our French right now. We're trying to learn French. And part of that desire is, I remember going the first time we went to Paris and we're sitting there and we're at this restaurant and the waiter is like, it's like 4 tables and she's kind of in the middle talking to all of them, talking English to us, turn around, speaking French, turn to this table, speak Italian, turn around and speak German. And when you go to Paris in Europe and people are speaking different languages, I know enough right now to get me like, hey, how you doing? You got a table or 2? Can I get some still sparkling water? And then I'm parlez-vous anglais? Like, do you speak English? Because that's kind of as far as I go. But the assumption of an American going there is like, you probably know English. Like, just we assume like you should know my language probably. But it's like when I saw like, oh my gosh, like why? I don't want to create a world where my kids think the only thing that is real is what is real to me. Like, no, there's beauty in the American church and our little continent over here is so small compared to the picture of what God has been doing in the earth.
Everybody
for years, like, and just wanting to. One of our friends grew up in Africa and she's helping with some homeschool stuff with the kids. And she's like, I have 8 different dialects of my language that I speak. And I was like, talk to the kids about that. Like, I want them to know that like, just because this is your experience and what is true to you does not mean it is the ultimate experience. And like that's the thing I think that sadly us as Christians, it's so easy in America, in American Christianity to have such a narrow mind of the Bible applies to me and how it applies to my mindset. And it's like, no, one, it was written in a completely different context and time. And we can acknowledge that God is coming back for his church.
That's correct.
Like, the one that don't speak the language you do, that like you don't fully understand. Like he's coming back for his church.
The one that drinks wine, the one that grows beards, the one that has a 5-hour service, the one that has a 55-minute service.
Yeah.
The ones that cuss, the ones that don't cuss. And I'm saying that because I have a mentee of mine who went to go preach in Scotland. And the pastor got up after he was done and was like, that message was effing incredible. But he said the word.
Yeah.
Because in Scotland, this ain't, we say F like we say food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like there's just so many things that in our own bubble, we think this is the end all be all.
Yeah.
And if you haven't traveled, you just live in a bubble. And it me going to Malaysia and seeing people worship God in a Muslim country changes your perspective on worship.
Dang.
It just changes it.
Yeah.
When you're in Singapore and you're in a secular society and going to church is like, why would you ever do that? But the average Singaporean speaks 5 languages. You just leave freaking embarrassed. I feel embarrassed.
No, literally.
I'm still trying to get Spanish.
Yeah.
And that's connected to this country. What the hell is wrong with us? How is this not mandatory?
Yeah. No, really.
This was their land.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna and we ain't gonna learn their language?
No, yeah.
So that American arrogance is very, very smug.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how arrogant you are until you leave the country for the first time.
That's the
you
truth.
don't realize how ignorant you are,
bro,
till you leave the country. Do you know the first time I knew I was an American? This story's gonna blow your mind. The first time I knew I was an American is when I went to Canada. I know this sounds crazy. I think that this is my first international trip outside of going to the Caribbean.
Yeah,
because my wife's Caribbean, so we was going to Bahamas and Jamaica, but I had to go to Canada.
Yeah.
Shout out to my Canadians. So I write, because all I've ever been told in this country is that I'm African American from as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
Right. All the boxes are you Caucasian, African American, Hispanic, non-Hispanic? Yeah. What the hell does that even mean?
That's where mixed kids pop in.
Right. Like
talk about me filling out a test. Like, are you black? Are you white? Are you Hispanic?
Yeah. Like,
no, I don't know.
Like if you're Hispanic, why would it? And you like, what is a non-Hispanic? Like that's I'm still confused. So I write, and so, you know, but on the customs card, you got to state your nationality.
Yeah.
This is so subconscious, bro. I wrote African American.
Yeah.
I didn't know. It's my first international trip, my first real customs card. I'm like, so I get to the customs desk, and this lady is, you know, and she looks down, she flips it over, and she sees it, and she goes. She looks at me with like disgust, and she takes a marker and scribbles through what I wrote, and next to it put American, stamped it, handed it back to me with disdain, and said, keep your issues in your country. A Canadian woman had to tell me I was an American.
Wow.
It never dawned on me.
Yeah.
That I was an American.
Yeah.
Not Afro.
Yep.
Not colored.
Yep.
Not black.
Yep.
American.
That's it.
A Canadian had to tell me that.
Wow. My goodness. Wow.
Because America has done America is the most sophisticated country at simultaneously reminding you who you are and who you're not at the same time.
Jeez. My goodness.
There's no other country better at reminding you of who you are and who you're not at the same exact time.
Yep. Yeah. That is.
You're black, you're white.
Yep.
You're rich, you're poor.
Yep.
You're in, you're out. You're popular, you're not.
Yeah.
Your value, you're disposable.
Yeah.
They tell you two things at the same time.
Yeah.
All day.
All day.
Every commercial. Every movie.
Jeez. And that, bro, like,
I mean, just let that settle, bro. Is that not crazy? I was 20 something. I got through a whole public education school system and had no freaking clue.
No idea.
I was an American. Never heard this crap in my life.
News to me.
Until a Canadian chick told me at the border, keep your issues in your country.
Yeah. My goodness. My goodness. Yeah, those types of things are the things that is just, raising kids. It's like I want to raise kids with a wide perspective of the world, a kid that can hold that's life and worldview, holds space for different people who are unlike you.
That's correct.
That you can learn from. I heard this random. It's hilarious. I always say it, but I heard this quote. It's from Bill Nye the Science Guy. Shout out, Bill. We appreciate you. But he said everybody you ever met knows something that you don't, so you can learn from anybody.
That's absolutely correct.
And it was just it was so succinctly said that I was like, what? Yes, like, and just approaching that with like, okay, I may not know, I may not have been raised like you were, I don't have the background you do, but there's something beautiful I can glean. There's this ring I wear, it says find beauty in every moment. And it's just this lens we were talking about to my friends. Like there's this lens that either we were talking about the news, and Arlo, that's how it sparked. Arlo, our little boy, we said something about the news, and Arlo goes, "What's the news?" And we realized, like, in our house, we ain't have the news on. Like,
fam, we don't do that.
We don't do that. And he literally was like, "What is the?" It was just a realization of like, "Oh, you literally don't even know." And then trying to explain it to him, I was like, I just go very loud. I'm like, "Yeah, it's this place where they just talk about people's bad." Like I didn't say, like I'm like, but it was this lens that I was talking to someone else about it, and I said, our family has chose to live in a way that there's always going to be good news no matter how bad the news gets. And I'm going to live in a way that no matter how dark they tell me it is, no matter how bad they say the world is, no matter how separated it's becoming, no matter how many bad, horrible things are happening, son, there is always good news. And the good news is that you have another chance because of Jesus. The good news is that there's space for you to mess up and come back. Like, the good news is, yeah, there are people who making horrible decisions, but there's people who ain't in the public eye that are being faithful. Like, we will live in a way that is, there's always more good news.
I got a Bible for this.
Let's go.
Philippians 4, starting at the 8th verse. Paul writes, and now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. You never gonna get me to look at 55 minutes of bad news.
Yeah.
I want to know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
But after you tell me once, duly noted.
Yep.
I don't need to watch this 4 other times. You ain't gonna have me out here watching CNN for a complete 5-hour news cycle for you to say the same thing with a different talking head.
Literally.
You already told me Ukraine got bombed. I'm praying already.
Yeah.
I do not need to know more details about what's going on. I get it. They're in a war. We gonna let it stop. And then let me find somebody who's Ukrainian,
bro. Yeah.
And help in a real tangible way.
Yeah.
But I'm not about to do this for. I'm not about to pollute my mind.
That's it.
And you going to make me walk out of here cynical at the world, squinting at everybody suspicious.
Literally.
Y'all all wrong. The white devil is out to get me. No. There's some racist people in the world.
Yeah.
And there's millions that are not.
Absolutely.
You want me to be mad at every white person?
Bro.
Because of a few white people? You want me to hate every cop?
Yeah.
Because of a few cops?
Yeah. Well, and that just that
that's not happening.
No,
y'all got me twisted. Y'all you do that. I'm not doing that.
No,
I'm never gonna be as mad at you.
No, I choose to live in a world where, and it is this idea of like, I'm gonna assume the best.